Hey guys, Peter Scott here, founder of the Fearless Life Academy and author of the #1 best-selling book, The Fearless Mindset. We got Brad Hart on here on today's podcast. This is so awesome because right now he's doing the dance, and I want to remind you, if you are just listening to this, then you are missing out because the two of us together on this video interview are going crazy right now. You can see us doing the sprinkler and other dance moves. So make sure to go to the YouTube channel and watch this video interview of the Fearless Life podcast. So some of you may recognize the name Brad Hart because, yes, we had him on a prior episode. I interviewed him all about the subject of money and wealth creation. This man is amazing. He's a dear friend of mine. Honestly, I'm not even going to go into the bio again because you already, we covered it. So I will.
Yeah, you got it. You nailed it on the last one.
I nailed it on the last one. Why repeat it?
Yeah.
If you look in the show notes, you'll see the link to the original episode with Brad Hart. And today we're going to talk about really the philosophy and the strategies of how to market your message that is packaged in a course in this modern business world. So much changes. Literally, it feels like, I don't know about you, Brad, but every hour when it comes to SEO and social media and YouTube marketing and all this stuff, and you and your business partner, Miguel, are literally experts at marketyourcourse.com. A lot of my followers, this listener who's listening to this right now, is probably a speaker, an author, a coach. They have very valuable knowledge, very valuable life experience that they want to package into something. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about that. So where I want to start is really what you do and how you support content creators in actually packaging their knowledge and sharing it so that they impact humanity and make money as a result of it.
Absolutely. And Peter, just first off, thank you so much for having me back on the show. We had such a blast last time. I felt like we didn't have enough time to really dig in to some of the things we wanted to talk about. So I'm really excited for the opportunity and grateful for the opportunity to have to be back on the Fearless Life podcast. So thank you for that. And then secondly, Miguel and I over at Market Your Course, the way we met was through our mutual friend of ours, Dan Martell. You know Dan.
Yep.
That's actually how we met, believe it or not.
That's right.
And Dan and I met at Tony Robbins' event called Date with Destiny. And then he invited me to come with 9 other people up to his house in Moncton, New Brunswick. Now, if you've never been to Moncton, New Brunswick, it's in another time zone that exists east of the Eastern time zone, which I didn't know existed.
I'm like, wait a second. Is it Atlantic?
Yeah, it's Atlantic time zone, right? So I
get on 4 hours later than the Pacific Coast time zone. It's really weird.
It's crazy. So I get on a plane in New York City, and I take 3 planes to get to Dan's house. And I'm sitting in the layover in like Ottawa somewhere, and I'm like, okay, cool. I got a few hours to kill on my layover. So I'm looking through my phone, and I get one of those flash sales on Udemy. Right? And Udemy, if you don't know, is an online course marketplace where people can sell their courses, typically lower priced. So I go and I see that they're selling courses for like $10 on a flash sale. So I go and I buy a course. It's called How to Create an Awesome Online Course. And I'm like, all right, look at the first 2 modules. These are kind of cool, awesome. I'll check it out later. It's $10, either way, right? It wasn't a big deal. It was like buying a book. So I go and I get on my plane. I go back to I go to Moncton. I'm sitting at Dan's house later. I totally forgotten about this. And we're all sitting at dinner, and his lovely home up there was his wife and kids, and everybody was there. It was like 10 of us. And we're going around the table talking to each person saying, hey, what do you do? What are you here for? How do you know Dan? Et cetera. And Miguel says, I'm an instructor on Udemy. I've got 10 courses, 20,000 students. We've done like $500,000 in sales. It's been really great so far. And this is about a year ago now in January. And I'm like, wait a second, I just bought a course on Udemy today. He's like, what's it called? I'm like, How to Create an Awesome Online Course. He's like, who's it by?
That's my course.
Yeah, who's it by? I'm like, Miguel Hernandez. He's like, that's you? That's me. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. How is it possible that
I love it.
On my way, I didn't know he was going to be there. I'd never heard of him before. I bought his course that day on my way to go see him in Moncton at Dan's house in the middle of nowhere.
No coincidence at all. That's no coincidence.
I'm like, dude, there is no way there's a coincidence.
Yep.
This is the most meant to be thing I've ever heard of.
Yep.
And I was like, I don't know what it is, but we're going to work together on something. We're going to be in each other's lives somehow. And he's like, I don't know whatever, man. He was like totally skeptical, but we got to be friends. And maybe like 3 or 4 months later, sure enough, I'm very persistent. I'm like, we're working together. Yep. All right. First it started as a phone call. Hey, can you help me out with this? I'm like, yeah, we get to talking. Hey, you want to work on this? And this became that, and that became the other thing. And now fast forward almost a year later, we're working together. And we're essentially what Miguel was running into is they were messing around with their pricing on Udemy, making it really expensive courses they were selling for multiple hundreds of dollars, maybe $1,000. They were like trying to sell them for like $50 and just wasn't quite connecting with his model of his business, how it ran prior to that. So he's like, I got to do something different, like as a supplement. So I want to learn marketing, and that's a big rabbit hole. So, I have a little experience in marketing and sales from my prior things that we talked about, hedge funds, real estate, etc. I had helped other online instructors. Actually took one course that they were selling, like $5,000 a month and brought up to $50,000 in a month in 3 months. For another company. So I kind of knew how some of the pieces worked. I understood a little bit about Infusionsoft and ClickFunnels and all the marketing tools. I'm like, cool, I'll work on you with this, work with you on that. So it started out, we're going to create a course, and we did that. And we started to find like 90% of people were just starting out, and like a course was really great for them. And then about 10% of people really needed help with implementation and all these different tech pieces, which we were also kind of good at. So we started taking on clients for that and hiring people. And now we got basically a team of 10 people in various parts of the world that do everything from ads on Facebook and YouTube to copywriting to funnel design to
this is good. So you've got to do it for you part of your business where you actually have a team doing all the behind the scenes system creations for the launch of that course.
So yeah, we do it really simply. If you've made 6 figures so far, so $100,000 on your course, you should hire us to help you scale. Right? You should hire that team. That's where it starts to make sense. If you haven't done that yet, you should take our course and get to that place. We teach you to validate, create, and market your course. Really simple, right? Marketyourcourse.com. You can check out any of that. We have great free resources. We have an hour-long video that's actually the #1 YouTube result for how to create an online course. And we beat out like Ramit and all these big names. Like, it's the most in-depth thing you've ever seen in your life. We'll help you create an online course for free. If you want to check that out, you can go to YouTube, check that out.
I love this. So I want to talk about the 3 segments, and I want to talk about validating the course, creating the course, and marketing your course, because a lot of people think all they need to do is just create a course and market a course. And
they don't even get that far. They just think all I have to do is create a course and it'll be out there and everybody will buy it.
That's right. You're exactly right. Because that was me. Like, literally 2 years ago, I created a course and it's like, all right, can't wait for checks to show up in the mail and, boom. And I was like, nope, that didn't really happen.
Yeah, I was there too. I made a course. It took me 6 months to build it. And I put everything I knew into it. And I was so excited. And then it was like crickets. And I partnered with people and there's just nothing.
So let's talk about step 1, because again, a lot of the listeners on this podcast are content creators. They are authors. They are coaches. They do a lot of things. Some of them may be doing that time for money, coaching 101 or coaching 1 to a few or 1 to many.
1,000%.
But that's trading time for money. And so the brilliant benefit of a course is not only do you get to impact more lives, but you create time freedom, which is ultimately the game that we want in all of our lives. So when it comes to having the idea of who your course is for and what the value of it is, how do you go about, and again, obviously, I'm sure you've got a webinar or something like that you want to give this audience, and we'll talk about what that URL is to do that. But starting with validation, what does that look like and why is that so important?
So I think it helps to understand where courses are in this grand scheme of things you could do as a coach, as a consultant, as a trainer, as a speaker, as an author, to add value to your audience, right? So there's the very first thing is like done for you services, right? I do X for you. And then there's done with you services. We work together on a project basis and we make things happen. And then it's like consulting, right? One-on-one. And then it's like group consulting or coaching, one-on-one, right? And then at the very top of that pyramid is like an online course. Most people, they see the chocolate at the end of it and they want to go and they don't want to eat their vegetables to get there and do all the client work to get there and understand all the things and how people actually get the results.
I have no idea what you're talking about. And no, it's not me at all.
But have you ever bought an online course where it's like, this isn't even well thought out? Like, there's no strategy here. There's no there's no real world fungibility. It breaks down at any car and then they disappear with your money, and that sucks for everybody. So we want to completely destroy that model. Right? Of people just going straight for the online course. If you have a business with clients and customers that you actually serve and help them solve problems on a one-to-one or services base or coaching group, whatever you're doing, cool. We can take that and then package that into an online course. But you have to get good enough to be able to solve people's problems when you're not even there. Yes. And that is the key that people don't understand. Right? The online course only becomes a useful tool to somebody if they can use it in lieu of you working with them to get the same result.
I love it. Okay,
so that's the first piece to understand. The second piece to understand is once you have these people and you've worked with them and you got to this point, you can actually validate using what I call either a beta or a pilot program, right? There's a couple of benefits to doing this instead of just making the course. Is you get to work with real people and charge them real dollars. So you start with a profit, right? And you can use that money to invest in the time and energy and everything that you're going to need to create a really great course. And then you can either film that or package that or however you want to present it. For a really great business model, check out Masterclass. If you've seen the ads on Facebook, this guy, Brad, I don't know his last name, but he's also Brad, has this company called Masterclass where he films Kevin Spacey teaching an acting workshop. So he's like one of the best actors in the world. Everybody knows his name. And he just goes in with a camera crew and he films them doing his workshop for people. So like you see 30 people going through this whole thing and then they package it into content. And then that's the course. And then they throw up an ad and everybody knows Kevin Spacey and people buy it and they split the revenue. It's a really easy model.
And this is huge. I know I'm interrupting you here, but I have to do this because, Brad, I don't know if you realize this, but you helped me create my course. My Earn 10K coaching course, teaching coaches how to earn their first $10,000. The reason why it exists today is because you recommended this beta idea to me, because I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to have to like pay for a studio or buy a bunch of, videography equipment. And you're like, dude, why don't you just put together like a 6 to 9 week course? It's a group coaching course. And then as you teach it, record it, and that'll be the test for you to charge and get paid to actually create the course.
Yes.
That's ultimately what you're suggesting.
Exactly. So if people will buy that services or coaching or consulting or whatever they buy, group or one-on-one, whatever, if they're willing to buy that, it's likely they'll buy a course as well, provided it has all the pieces. So then you get to go through this whole process with everybody. You get all their questions. You get to solve all their problems. They get the results. You get the testimonials, the case studies. You get all of the data, all the marketing, all the questions answered. You get everything. You know their problems inside and out better than they know them and how to articulate them as well. Right? Because you have multiple people from different walks of life that are giving you all of the data you need. And you're making money while you're doing it. The validation process doesn't need to be a slog for 6 months. You can make money doing this for people while you do it. And at the very end, if you're smart, you've captured enough data and enough pieces of this puzzle that I've just talked about to create a really great online course. Or maybe you're filming it the whole time, like you said, where now, okay, you can package that. And for a fifth of the price or a tenth of the price of working with you, now people have an option that's not correlated to your time where they can buy that course. So now you have a created course. Maybe you polish it, maybe add a few segments. You're always updating. It's never finished, right? Because it's got to be as relevant today as it is in a year from now and 5 years from now. If you're going to keep selling it, you owe it to your students to continue to update it and make it more relevant. And, maybe once in a while you go in and update the videos if there's some technical component, things change, and you just let people know, like, okay, this is version 1.0. This is version 1.1. This is version 2.0, whatever it is. And you just keep moving that way. And then finally, you've got some money, you've got some clients, you've got a small little test base, you can reinvest, you can make it better. You've got a course. It's created. It's ready to market. And now you know everything about the people you're trying to attract. You have all of the case studies, you got all the testimonials, all the referrals, anything you could possibly need to then scale that to 3 types of traffic. I'm going to talk about these real quick.
Okay, good.
Now when you go to market, you need 3 types of traffic. You can focus on one of these to start, but there's 3 overall. There's paid traffic, which is Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever you pay for somebody to see an ad to come see your thing. That's paid traffic. That is also the coldest traffic. They don't know you, like you, or trust you. So you're going to have to add a lot of value and show them a lot of value and give them a lot, basically, to get them to a point where they'll know you and trust you enough to buy from you.
Yes.
Right? So that's the coldest. The second, which I recommend is the easiest, is to partner up with people who already have audiences of people that are similar to the people you ran the beta test with. So you've got all your avatar data, your customer data. You understand who it is you're trying to solve. Here are the different types of people, right? Then you can go to any partner and say, hey, I've got this course. It's validated. It's tested. It sells at this price. We'll split the money, or I'll give you 100% of the money if you're just starting out. Yep. And I just want your clients, right, to test this and keep, iterating, because now you have cold traffic, right?
Yep.
Coming in colder anyway. It's not totally cold if they're recommending you. But then you do a JV launch, and that's really easy to track with Infusionsoft or some affiliate partner type tracking software, right? Lead Dino, I could name off a million of them. I think ClickFunnels has one now. It's pretty decent. There's a million ways to track that. It's all completely transparent. Both of you have a dashboard. You can see what's selling, what's not, who got refunds. You just cut them a check after the refund period, right?
Yeah. As
long as you do the right and everybody's transparent and happy, you can make a lot of money doing that. So we just closed the deal actually this weekend. We're rolling it out for a list of 200,000 people who are going to look at our course. So let's just think about some math right now. Yeah. We have a $1,000 course, give or take. It's actually between $800 and $1,200 depending on what package you go to. So let's say $1,000. We have a list of 200,000 people. We're doing an email series for 7 to 10 days depending on where we get to. Yeah. If we get 1% of those people to buy, which is, it's doable. I don't think it's impossible. Mm-hmm. We would make $2 million in revenue.
Whew.
And we split that up. That's $1 million for our partner and $1 million for us.
Yes.
right? If we did a 10th of that, would it still be worth doing? If we did a 20th of that, would it still be worth doing? Yes.
Of course, absolutely.
But the upside is pretty crazy. So you start thinking about JVs, it's like, wow. And you don't start there, right? Because there's a lot of risk involved. You start with, okay, let's mail to 5,000 people. What do we learn? What do we tweak? What broke? What do we need to change? What are people saying?
So you're talking about something real quick, testing. Like, talk about testing for a second, because a lot
guys, don't go for the freaking farm all at once. You're not respecting the wishes and needs and the risk of the client or the person and the partner you're working with. So starting small allows you to build trust and to understand, because you don't know what you don't know, right? We talked about this in the last podcast. You just don't know, and always something will break at the worst possible time.
Yep.
So the only way to do that is to test it with the marketplace and get feedback.
Be willing to test it. So like, that's the other thing, is some people will do the huge promotion without testing. And I think what's worse is trying to come up with the answers first and make all these guesses without testing in the first place.
Right.
Like, it doesn't matter how many educated guesses you can make until you actually put that product out there and see what the feedback is, what the conversion is. Then when you get that data, then you know what needs to be changed in the messaging or the targeting or whatever that is.
Mm-hmm. And it just starts with, like, what's your best idea or your best 5 ideas, your best 10 ideas? Test them all out. Okay, cool. Some of them work, some of them didn't. You learn some stuff. Cool. Now you take those and you whittle them down to the next 5 best ideas, the next 3 best ideas. And then pretty soon you're at your best idea, and it works, and it's tested and it's validated. And from there, the hardest part of all of this is validation. But if you get it right, it's game on. You can sell to 1 million people, right? Yeah. Provided that it's the size of your market. Once you've established a market and that people will pay for it and the right pricing and all the different pieces, it can scale into infinity, right? So that's really the number one thing I want to hammer in, guys. Don't do it the way that Peter and I have both tried to do it in the past, which fails every time. You're not going to know what people need, want, like, and have to know. They don't. People are all different. The only way to know is to go out there and figure it out, right? So having this framework in place allows you to do that while you make money and serve people at the same time.
And I want to share something really valuable. This was a huge lesson of mine last year. So at the time of this recording, that was 2016, of the distinction between marketing to people what they want and then giving them what they need. And this is a huge lesson for me, because for the listener that has been following me, you know my message is all about mindset. It's all about conquering fear. And although that's authentically, genuinely what people need to take action, to get into the best shape of their life, to make money, to do all these things, it may not necessarily be what they want. In my messaging, there is a disconnect. And I shared this with you, Brad, when we talked a few weeks ago. And it was such a learning of mine, because I've been hammering my head against a wall trying to figure that out, when I realized, listen, I am, people are in their metaphorical hell, right? Where do they want to get? They want to get to their metaphorical heaven. The problem is, if you're selling them a stairway to heaven, they don't want the stairway. They don't want to have to do that. They just want to get to heaven. So it's making sure to understand what people want, giving, marketing them that, and then giving them not just what they want, but also really what they need. If all you do is market to them broccoli, then they're not going to eat. They're not going to buy, right? Because what they want is chocolate.
Yes,
it's a metaphor for Brad Hart, by the way.
But it's true, and it's not lying to people. It's just telling them what the results are, what's possible for them in their life. And it's being authentic and realistic. Yep. But guess what? People aren't going to make a logical decision. They aren't going to logically choose the hard path to get hard things. Like, if life is set up properly, right? Life is set up where the amount of effort and smart work you put into something, the better results you get, right? But people just want something for nothing, right? And the majority of people that we could help won't ever step into the door or into the breach and start believing in themselves until they come on our side of the fence, right? So yes, we will market the results, right? Miguel making $500,000 in his career as a course creator, or, doing that one JV deal. It's going to make you $1 million, maybe, who knows? Yep. But, at the end of the day, like, years of effort went into those, to where that's the point where we're playing at that kind of level. Right? We built those relationships and that kind of trust with people. That's not day one stuff, guys, but that's okay. Start where you're at. It's okay. You can build to that over time. And pretty soon, the more leverage you get, the more experience, the more relationships, the better networks, the better masterminds you join, the better events you go to. You're going to meet better and better people to partner with that will allow you to market to more people, ultimately, that can use your product and service as well. So it's getting it right and then scaling it up.
Brad, thank you for sharing that real quick.
Absolutely. And I just want to circle back to that last one thing, because we talked about paid traffic and lent traffic, but also made traffic, right? Content marketing is killer, guys. And if you're not putting out content that's so far above and beyond everything else that's out there, I would rather have you put out 6 pieces of content a year and really nail it and make it the de facto #1 resource for people to check out than a bunch of crap every week. That's going to do you way better, and it's going to get way more clients as a result. We get so many leads and sales from that one video that's the top of YouTube. It's crazy because we put so many hours, and if you watch it, it's incredible. And we put together an amazing set of resources as well, webinars, etc. But I'll show you all those in a bit.
So let's talk to the person who may not have created much content yet, right? They're just starting out. Is it how would you help them think about creating that first piece of content? Because I totally agree that you've got to create high quality content today. There's so much out there. Yet at the same time, if they try to create, a video to be as highly produced as, say, a Gary Vaynerchuk video, right, where he's got teams of people doing that, I feel like there's going to be a huge gap between where the listener is and where you are, right? Or where Gary Vee is, or where that is. So how should they think about taking that first step to creating that content to market their course?
Yeah. So I think there's two pieces of this. Is a belief structure around it's already been done before. Yep. It hasn't been done by you. That's the number one thing I want you to take away from. Yep. There's a lot of people that hate Gary Vaynerchuk. He's great. I like him, but there's a lot of people that don't like him. He's loud, obnoxious, right. So you might have people who want to hear the same exact thing Gary's saying, but from you. Right? Because they like the cut of your jib more. They know, like, and trust you more. People are relationship based. I don't care, if you're the top number one in any industry, somebody somewhere is going to have something bad to say about you. It's just the price of success, right? So for those people, maybe they prefer your message. So you can teach the exact same things, not, plagiarizing or taking their content. That's not what I'm saying, but the same types of things. The marketplace will never be so saturated or crowded that there aren't people that want to learn from you. So don't worry about it being, oh, it's been done before. Worry about it from the perspective, how could I do it authentically for me that attracts people that I can serve, right? Because at the very low end, you can charge a lot of money to work with few number of people. At the very high end, you can touch millions and make small amounts of money from each. And it all works, right? It's just different levels of leverage. Did that answer the question, or was it? It
did. Yeah, no, that was good. And one thing I want to share, and this has served me tremendously in growing my coaching business, is that whether you're a coach, a healer, a consultant, a speaker, whatever you are, one of the best things that I did was I viewed myself first and foremost as a marketer, as a business owner. And the reason that's so important is because it doesn't matter how good of a coach or content creator you are if no one knows that you exist.
That's right.
So literally marketing for me is the way I impact people's lives. If I didn't dedicate myself to understanding traffic and copywriting and direct response and all of these things through all, like, the information's out there, right? It's out there. It's at your fingertips.
Nothing starts until somebody says yes. That's it.
Elaborate.
Help anybody until they say yes, because your story inspires a lot of my clients, Peter. It's like, you remember you're starting out and you got all that great advice from from Sean Stevenson.
Yep.
And he was giving you all this great advice, and he's world class, but you weren't following it. And then when you went and hired a business coach and he gave you the same freaking advice, guess what?
But I invested $20,000. That's why I actually did something about it. See, so that's the other thing, is like, be willing to invest in yourself too, because I think
I'm thinking from the other side, from the client side, they're not going to get the result that you have to offer until they've invested. So until you can get people to first pay attention and then sell them, which is just really serving them, you can't do anything for them that they're going to really make a change with.
Okay, that's huge, because, like, so many people who have very, very high quality intentions, right, to serve, to create value, to do these things, are terrified of selling.
Yes.
So, like, what do they need to shift in their mindset to look at that as something that is of service to them, for them to actually get over their fears and insecurities about doing that? Because you and I know, like, you may have some money saved up in the bank, but if you don't sell, it's only a matter of time, right? Well, that runs out, and then you can't continue serving people if you don't have the money that you to support the lifestyle that you want to have.
And I think a great book to read about this is The Go-Giver by Bob Burg. I recommend that to everybody. And also Endless Referrals. It's a great book. But just quickly, my two pieces are, like, understand that people's problems are endless. Problems and challenges are the nature of humanity. It's our thing, right? We have them. Everybody has them. And when we fix one over here, another one pops up over there. And it's like, life is problems, right? And that's a good thing. You should have problems that are, to the level of the quality of the life you want to live, right? If you have bigger problems, it means you're doing something right. So that's one piece, right? So there's never going to be a shortage of problems. There's always going to be people out there to serve that you can help. And that's one piece, right? So understanding that is coming from a problem-solving perspective. You're in a really good place to serve people by selling. right? And then sales shouldn't be you talking about how great your thing is or how it's the perfect thing for them. It should be about asking questions to the people until you understand exactly what their problem is,
Yes.
diagnose their pain, bring it into the forefront, and really understand it and clear as day. And they have this, come to Jesus type of moment where it's like, oh, that's my problem. I know I need to make a change. Cool. Well, now let me tell you about what I have that might be a good solution for that. Or, and this is highly integrity and abundant thinking, let me tell you about somebody else who I think has a great product or service that would fit your particular need, and then refer that person.
Yep.
Now, this does two things. This shows people that you actually have their best interests in mind. So they'll love you for that. And they'll refer you to other people. And at the other time, it helps you build relationships. If I came to you, Peter, and said, I have a great client that's not a good fit for me, but it's great for Peter Scott, wouldn't you love it? Wouldn't you be like, oh my God,
it'd be such an incredible piece of value. Yes.
Yes. And if I'm right, oh my God, even better.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, what happens between you and that person, I don't have any control over. But, if that turns out to be a win for them and a win for you, and I got to win by doing valuable service, aren't you going to think of me next time somebody needs help with money or entrepreneurship?
It skyrockets
Absolutely.
Relationship capital. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So you're helping everybody. So the goal should not be to sell. The goal should be to diagnose, to get really clear on what the problem is and how it could best be solved, whether you have the product or service to provide or somebody else. And in doing this, every person I talk to, I do this now. This is my sales conversation. I turn away more business than I actually take on myself, because I know over time I'm building so many high quality relationships and so many opportunities pop up. It's just the law of abundance, right? If you give, you get. It just happens that way. So that's the reason these types of opportunities come into my life.
Such an important lesson, Brad, because, when I started my coaching business, I tried to market something that I hadn't mastered myself yet. And I was completely out of integrity. I was marketing coaches how to earn their first $1,000 at the time, yet I hadn't even earned $1,000 as a coach. And I tried to do it because a mentor recommended it. But what happened was I felt incongruent. It didn't matter how great, how trained I was on the words to say, the energy that people were feeling.
You want an alignment.
Exactly, out of my alignment. So I want the listener who's watching this video or listening to this interview to think about what value have you created for yourself and what value are you creating for your clients. And the clients that you work with, Brad, already know that because they already have clients and customers that they've served. Like you said, they've already served a lot of people. And for those of you that think that don't have that yet, that's the way you learn what value you create. When I started, I started charging very little for my coaching just for the opportunity to coach somebody, to under-promise, to over-deliver. And then once I saw that feedback, talk about testing, right? I got feedback and proof in the marketplace that what I knew was valuable, because so many listeners on here right now have what is called the curse of knowledge. They assume that everyone else knows what they know, right? All of their experience, Brad, in investing, in real estate, the work in your hedge fund, all of that, it could have been easy for you to say, you know what? Well, after 10 years of doing this, everyone knows what I know. But then you get into conversation with people and you realize you have such specialized knowledge that people are willing to pay you a ton of money for that. And that's what I want the listener to figure out. And that's what you do in the validation portion of it, right?
Yes. Essentially, the validation portion is an opportunity to invite somebody to go on a journey with you. They have money in the game. You have time and energy in the game. You're bringing your expertise to the table. They're getting the value of your 10, 15, 20 years of professional knowledge, or depending on how old you are. You might have been at this since you were 12 years old, like me. I started mowing lawns when I was 12 years old. I worked in restaurants. I've done 18 different jobs before I ever became an entrepreneur.
Yep.
It's just so many pieces, and you think they're not going to fit into the puzzle, but life is always happening for you, right? Life is always teaching you the things that you need to grow and serve at a higher level. And also, life is not about you. It's about the people you can serve. So even though I was an EMT and a bartender and this and that and all these different things that make no type of sense, I use lessons that I learned in those environments all the time with my clients. And it seems like totally out of the blue, but it just clicks into place. And you can't connect the dots in life looking forward. You can only connect them looking back. So I urge you guys, use what you have and everything you got. Serve people. Find out what their problems are. And if you start seeing patterns, then you can start creating marketing messages. Because guess what? If one person has a problem, it's likely that somebody else has the same problem. It's likely that there's patches of people that have the same problem that you can go in and just change their whole game by serving them.
Mic drop. Doesn't get much better than that, dude. That was awesome. So that's a great note to wrap up this interview on. Of course, I know the listener wants to figure out how to actually learn more from you, especially with marketing their course. So real quick, could you share, you did this back in part 1, but that was a while ago. So part 2, what is something that you're most excited about that's going on in your business as it relates to marketing courses? And where should the listener go to learn more about working with you so that they can get their voice and their message out there and impact
Way ahead of you,
lives?
Peter. I'm all about adding more value, guys. So I put together 2 different pages for my 2 different businesses. So you can go to either marketyourcourse.com/fearless, FEARLESS, or makemoremarbles.com/fearless, FEARLESS. And those 2 pages will have all the resources from both my sites and our partner site, Market Your Course, where we do client work and everything like that for marketing. Depending on what you're into, get them both. They're all free resources. You can check them out. And I'll send you daily emails as well. We recently hired somebody to essentially take all my crazy thoughts and package them into daily emails. So you'll get a lot of value over time, guys. So
good.
If you're listening to this, I really recommend signing up for our list. We're dropping knowledge bombs every single day, both in the peak performance, productivity, wealth, and finance area, and then also on the other side, which is marketing and selling courses and all that.
And honestly, like, you share so much amazing content for free on social media as well, like Facebook in particular. I want the listener to go connect with you there as well.
Yeah, you can check me out at facebook.com/Brad Hart, one word, BRADHART.
Awesome. All those things, all those links will be linked up in the show notes. Brad, part 2, brother, this was amazing. I mean, we should have like 12 parts because these 30
minutes. Anytime you want to do a podcast, I'm down. I love business, man. I love you. Your energy is amazing. I get jazzed up. You get jazzed up. People are getting a lot out of this. Let's just keep sharing the good word.
I love it, brother. Thank you for being on here, and thank you for taking the time and the commitment to listen to this. Take what you've learned from this interview, whether you're watching it or listening to it, and go implement it. Go literally sit down and write down what you've learned and actually take action on some of this stuff, because information without action is just, I don't know what it is. I'm sure there's some wisdom nugget there, but just implement this stuff. That's the only way you're going to get these results. So this is Peter Scott reminding you to be here, act now, and yes, fear less. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night.